meant by management. And then we saw that when we talk about the definition of management, it has been seen in many perspectives. So some see management as a course of study. Some see management as, so the course of study has to do with a discipline. Some see management as a body or authority who is in charge of organizing some group of people. And then some also see management as consultancy. Some also see management as resources. We saw that some even see management as people, group of people. So I made you to understand that when talk about management, you can't talk about management without talking about people, in that many people believe that management is the process of working through and with the help of people in order to achieve the goal of the organization. And those who see that management is used to describe people or group of people believe that it is through the people that objectives can be achieved. And then as a course of study, we talked about that some people study management as a course in the university, among others. Then we also saw whether management was science or management an art. And then we all concluded by saying that management is both an art and then science. I made you understand that management being an art is not just ACT. It is not ACT as in act, activity, but it's in art. Arts about visual arts, where in visual art people create, people try to bring innovation, people try to bring in something new, and people who draw, who create, it is something within them. It is within them. And so management being an art, the art aspect is something coherent or innate. Let me put it that way. It is something innate. The innate means that it is within the person. And so in the same way, in management, managers are believed to apply managerial knowledge and skills that calls for creativity and innovation. And so we have managerial skills like conceptualize skills, conceptual, your ability to conceptualize an abstract, your ability to think deeper into issues, that is conceptualized skills. We have human relations skills, one's ability to be able to have good human relation with others. So a manager's ability to apply the theoretical aspects of business into practical talks about his ability to be creativity. So That is the aspects of management being an art. The art is being creative innovation. And so we believe that managers also apply the managerial skills, that is the theory, into practice in order to bring in that aspect of creativity and innovation. Again, we saw that management is also a science. When we say management is a science, what do we mean? Management being a science simply means that scientists use processes in working. Scientists use step by step procedures in doing their works. So when you go to the laboratory, you don't just stand up to conduct a test. There are various methods that you use to conduct a test. And so, in the same way, when we bring it to management, we believe that management is also a process. And what is this process? This process talks about one's ability to plan, to organize, to direct or lead, and to control resources. And the resources here, we mean that you control both human and material resources in order to achieve the goals of the organization. And so, in as much as scientists pass through process steps, the same way managers in dealing with issues pass through processes, or managers in order to achieve the goals of the organization need to bring down or bring in some methodologies, some steps in order to achieve these goals. And so, in as much as science is a systematic body of knowledge, the same thing that management is also a systematic body of knowledge because it passes through processes. In management, you don't control before you come and organize. You don't organize before you come and then direct. You don't direct before you come and then plan. No, it is a process. So from planning, or the process starts with planning. You have to plan before you organize, before you direct or lead, before you control. You can mix them up. And so once in the laboratory, taking scientists as an example, that in the lab you can't just mix things just like that. Otherwise, if you try to mix up things there, you will kill yourself in the lab. For all you know, then you just blast yourself and then you are off. In the same way, in management, if you try to do things anyhow, you end up not achieving the goals of the organization and also leading to death of the organization. So you want to move on by looking at the importance of management. So when we talk about the importance of management, how important is management at all? How important is management? My brothers and sisters, some scholars try to bring in the essence of management or the importance of management. So let's look at, there is one philosopher who is known as Drucker. So Drucker in 2004 said that effective management was the main resource of developed nations. Effective management was becoming the main resource of developed nations, and that it was the most needed resource for developing nations. He further indicated that management is a dynamic, life-giving element in an organization, and without it, the resource of production remain mere resources and never become production. So what Draka means is that for developed nations, or we seeing developed nations, is as a result of effective management. And if we talk about effective management, it means that there is effective planning, there is effective organizing, there is effective controlling, or no, there is effective directing or leading, and there is effective controlling. I've already told you that don't mix the steps. It starts with planning, goes to organizing, directing, or leading, and it ends with controlling. Though there may be other elements of management such as supervision, coordinating, motivating, among others, staffing, among others. But all these are embedded in these four elements I have made mention to you. And these four are planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. So we've seen nations to be or to remain developed nations is as a result of effective planning. If you fail to plan, you plan to fail. Developed nations are seen because of effective organizing, effective directing, and effective controlling. When you add all these elements, we call it effective management. And so, what are the importance of management? One, optimum utilization of resources. Management helps to make effective use of resources. And mind you, resources is not only money, or resources is not only human, but resources, we have financial resources, we have human resources, we have material resources. So here, one importance of management is that it helps us to maximize the use of resources. So whether human, it will help us to maximize human resources well. If financial resource, it will help us to manage financial resources well. If material resource, it will help us to manage them well. How do we manage these well? Now let's look at the right up in the slide, or in the, how do you call it, your model. Today, management has become an important factor of production, which is helpful in making the best use of other factors of production like material, machine, manpower, and money. Materials, machine or machinery, manpower and money. So the money here is the financial resource. The manpower here is the human resource. And the machine and materials will serve as the material resources. It stimulates the force of economic growth. Management creates and maintain an element conducive to higher productivity. Thus, management is a catalyst without which no organization can survive and grow. Now, mind you, my students, when we talk about maximizing resources or optimum utilization of resources, it means that whether human resource, financial, or material, one, you don't put how do they even call it, square is it square hole in round. There is a saying, I don't know if any of you will just remember, we don't put square hole in a round hole or something.
Square pegs in a round hole.
Good. We don't put square pegs in a round hole, but we put round hole on a round spec, right? So what this means is that you can't train someone to become a teacher as a human resource, a teacher, and then you, in the course of employing the person, you employ the person in the banking sector. The person came to school to do education. He has learned everything about education, and because of employment issue, the person found himself working at the bank. What knowledge has this person have when it comes to banking activity? You will not make good use of the human resource. So in making optimized utilization of human resource, we have the quantitative and qualitative. The qualitative have to do with the skills. So for instance, I am teaching you management and administration in schools, and you have learned how to organize or manage schools. So it means that you can effectively work as a headmistress or a headmaster, and then you find yourself working in the mining sector. No, it is putting a square pegs in round hole. It doesn't work like that. The person will not be effective. Another example, you have gone to learn let me say, beard social studies, or beard social studies, beard early childhood education, and then you've been taken to the senior high school to go and teach. Is the senior high school early childhood education? No. It means that you can work there, but you will not be effective there. And so the optimized utilization of you, the human resource, will not be achieved. Another example when it comes to the quantitative is that work that one person or two people can do, we don't make 9 people to come and do. Some will be redundant. When it comes like that, you have not made optimized utilization of the human resource. So one importance of management is that we are able to make optimal utilization of resources. The resources, when it comes to human resource, you try to put the right qualification on the right job. You try to put the right number of people on the right job. A work that requires 2 people, you don't employ more than 2. 2 people goes to work, and that's all. When it comes to finance, the same thing. You don't misuse money. You don't give out money without, you don't buy something without bargaining. Procurement and supply chain management. There is a need for you to make effective utilization of resources. And once you make effective utilization of resource, the important aspect is that you are able to create conducive environment and for higher productivity. Your people will be productive and you maintain higher productivity. So that is one when it comes to the optimized utilization of resources. The next one is the maximum production at a minimum cost. Maximum production at a minimum cost. So maximum production, let me read what is here. Maximum production at a minimum cost. In the present age of competition, no business can succeed until and unless it is able to provide goods and services at the lowest possible rate or cost or price. The necessity of an effective and efficient management is in the achieving the target of maximum production at minimum cost. We cannot even dream of a welfare state without a well-organized management. The role of expert management has become indispensable with ever-increasing growth of capital-intensive industry. Now, let me make this. In management, there is something we call effectiveness and efficiency. Effective and efficiency. Being efficient is different from being effective. You can be efficient but not effective. Now, when you talk about efficiency and effectiveness, what do we mean? The efficiency has to do with doing the right things, and effectiveness has to do with doing things right. Maybe you may be confused when it comes to doing the right things and doing things right. Don't bother yourself with that. Now, what I want you to understand is when you say you are efficient, it means that you are able to use limited resources to achieve a greater outcome. It means you are efficient. You use limited resource to achieve a greater outcome. So, for instance, the resource is not only material, money, among others, but let me even use money because of our women and then our men on this course. I believe that most of you are married couples. Good. So a day you give your wife 30 Ghana cedis as chop money, and when you came from work, your wife has managed to get you fufu, correct fufu with aponchin krakra. Hey, you yourself, you realize that no, Tete Ghana can't do all these things. But your wife has managed the small resource for a greater output. It means that your wife is efficient. Are you getting it? Please, are you getting it?
Yes, please.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes. So efficient means using limited resources. You see, in economics, we say that we say that resources are scarce, resources are limited, and once they are limited and they are scarce, they must be used judiciously. They must be used effectively. And so, being efficient means that you are using limited resources to achieve a greater outcome. That is doing the things right, doing the right things. Sorry. And then the effective is doing things right. The effective, you are effective. You are effective means that you do things right. You go by rules. You come to work, they say, okay, come to work at 5. Come to work at 8 o'clock in the morning and close at 5. When you come to work at 8, closing at 5, you should be able to produce 50 bags of cement. So you come to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, you produce your 50 bags of cement, at 5, you close. You've done the right thing. You have done the right thing. You are being effective, but you are not efficient. For all you know, the 8 hours, starting work at 8 o'clock and closing at 5 o'clock, you could have produced 200 bags of cement or even 100 bags of cement instead of 50 bags of cement. So once you are able to achieve the target given to you, that come to work at 8 o'clock, produce 50 bags and close at 5, and you are able to produce that, it means that you are effective, but you are not efficient. You are not efficient because the limited resource you could have used to do bigger things than just producing 50 bags of cement. So that is that for effectiveness and efficiency. If you are efficient, you are automatically effective. But if you are effective, it doesn't mean you are efficient. And so, talking about one importance of management, looking at maximum production at a minimum cost, means that the person is able to produce more but a less cost, a less resource, a less time. Don't also forget that time is also a resource. Time is also a resource. Okay, let's go on. Accomplishment of group organization. Group goals. Through management, you are able to accomplish the goal that the group has given to you. And that is, anytime you talk about management, you shouldn't forget about the 4 elements: planning, organizing, that directing, and then controlling. You shouldn't forget about that at all. So planning help us planning help us to planning help us to achieve the goal of the organization. Another thing is planning. I have here efficient running of organization, and then I've explained what efficiency mean to you people. So there is no need for me to. And then the last aspect is generation of employment opportunity. Through management and effective management, you are able to produce employment opportunity. Management create jobs. Managers create job. You see, once you are working and you are efficient, you achieve higher productivity. And once you are achieving higher productivity, there will be a need for more hands, because people might have been buying the product, and then you are achieving higher. And so the more you achieve, the more you need hands to come and then support. So management creates job opportunity by setting up new branches or expanding the existing ones. Okay, so that is that for the unit 1. I try to ask you questions about some of these things, but because of time, let me quickly move on. Okay, so let me just ask you this question. Management as an art suggests that it is guided by some principles and consistent of organized body of knowledge. True or false? Management as an art suggests that it is guided by some principles and consistent of organized body of knowledge.
False.
True or false?
False.
Why?
False.
False.
True.
Why false? Just explain yourself. Don't just say true or false. Just tell me why it is true, why it is false.
It is false because
One at a time, please.
okay, so it is false because when we say
Your
something is an art,
your name. Your name.
my name is Delphina.
Hey, Delphina, are you there?
I am here, sir.
So right after research, that is all. You never look for me, eh? I hear. Okay, go on.
Okay, so
You see,
it is false.
you are all my people. You are all my people. I taught you research methods in education, and after that, no one except one person who was at a point who said, "How are you?" Hi, say, I WhatsApp to check up on you. Only one person. Only one person. Look at your number.
We'll begin to
Look at
look
your
for you, sir.
phone.
We'll begin to look for you.
me. I'm sorry.
Okay, go ahead.
Yes, sir.
So
Why?
I was saying that it is an management becomes an art when it is something that is inbuilt or we use our intuition. But when we veer towards the side of principles and following rules and others, then it becomes a science where we follow
Very
systematic
simple.
orders.
Very simple. That is correct. Please, I hope it is clear. The method is where,
Okay.
or the science is where you follow consistent methods and steps, and so it makes it false. Effective management ensures maximum production at minimum cost. True or false?
It's true.
Effective management ensures
It's true. It's true.
maximum production at minimum cost. True or false?
No, that is false.
It's true. It's true.
It's true.
True or false?
It's true. It's
So
true.
why true? Why false?
Okay, effective management. So
Who is answering? Answer for Sumaila.
Sir,
Franklin, who is talking?
sir, I'm the one. I'm Franklin.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Because when
Franklin,
it comes to management, we have to use limited resources to achieve a higher output.
okay, and so it is true, right?
It's true, sir.
That's it.
But your explanation, it is not that when we come to management, you have to, but it should be management helps one to management. When you're able to manage effectively, it will enable you to make maximum productivity maximum productivity at a minimum cost, thereby avoiding wasting. I hope it is clear.
Yes, sir.
Okay. And the last question before I go to the next one is management as a science suggests that it is based on systematic body of knowledge. True or false?
true. Like I said, true.
That is true
True.
Okay, why is it true?
because science uses a systematic process and theories to build up in its findings.
Okay, okay, that is right. So let's quickly move on to the next. Yes. So now we've seen the concept of management. Let's look at the concept of administration. The concept of administration. Now, management and then administration actually move hand in hand. Management and administration actually move hand in hand. Um, some use them synonymously, but mind you, they are not the same. Administration is not the same as management. So here you want to look at if they are not the same, what is it? And then how different are they? Okay. So bridge 1975. Hey, which is a very long time. Were you born? A minute. So bridge 1975 states that administration is that part of management which is concerned with installation and the carrying out of procedures by which programs, plans, and targets are laid down and communicated, and progress of activity regulated and checked against them. A minute. Okay, so can you all see from the slides now? Can you all see now?
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So um, that is breach definition of administration. He sees administration as part of management, which is concerned with the installation and the carrying out of procedures by which programs, plans, targets are laid down and communicated, and progress of activities regulated and checked against them. So, in a more simple term, administration is concerned with the performance of executive duties, carrying out of policies and decisions to fulfill a purpose, and controlling of the day-to-day running of the business. So, from breach definition, it is why you want to talk. Okay, from breach definition, it is clear that one, administration is part of management. When we come to mathematics, we will say administration is a subset of management. Are you okay? Good. Now, that aspect of management, what does it do? So, from breach definition, it is saying that one, management is a universal set, and then two, administration is a subset. Now, the universal set being management and the executives, once they formulate policies, they set goals, vision, mission of the organization, long-term goals among others, then they will bring it down. Then those down, that is the subset, which is administration, will try to execute these goals. They will execute these visions that has been set by management. Am I making sense? So administration deal with the day-to-day running of the business, making sure that the goal set has been achieved. So when I'm to give example in education setting, I will say that the Ministry of Education will serve as the universal set that is setting out educational policies, goals among others. And then the various regional districts, directors of education, including headmasters and headmistresses in the various schools, will serve as administrators, where they will try to implement the goals by the Ministry of Education through Ghana Education Service. Am I making sense? Okay, so let's look at one or more definition then. Campbell et al. 1977 gave a functional definition of administration. When you talk of functional definition, we talk about using elements. And in the management, when I was teaching you the management, I made you aware that the functions of management, or the elements of management, or the processes or steps of management are planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Any other element, functions, steps among others are under these four that we've made mention of. And so Campbell tried to define administration, but from him, he wanted to use functions, elements to define administration. So describing what administrators do with the acronym post and post code, that is POSD CORB. And what does this post code mean? What this means is that, so according to them, so the et al. Is not one person, or Campbell et al., there are many. Good. So according to them, when colleague and UWEC were asked what work of the chief executive like, so chief executive like the president of the US does, their answer was the coined word acronym. So there was a conversation among them, and then they were trying to ask them the works of some executives and the works of some big men. You see, One difference between management and administration, when we look at it from the perspective of, let me say, Americans and the British, the Americans see people in top managerial role or higher position as administrators. Take note of this. I want to repeat myself. In US or in America, the Americans see people who are at the top position as administrators, and those who are down as managers. Whereas in Britain, the British see people at the top level as management, and those at the lower level as administrators. And in Ghana, we were colonized by the British, and so in the same way, we see people at the top level as what? I want answers from you.
As management.
As management. I like that. Whereas those at the down as what? Administrators. Good. So, Campbell's conversation, they were asked that what work of the chief executive, like the president of the US, does, and they brought in these functions describing the element of administration. This doesn't mean that these elements are exclusive. There are so many things that the executive might be doing more than this. So the P here is planning. So according to them, the top executives, like the presidents, like the managing directors, like the CEOs, like the managing director, CEO, who else? Top managerial roles. What they do is planning, organizing. So the P is planning, the O is organizing, the S is staffing. The D is directing, the C is coordinating. So the coordinating is where you add the O, and then the R is reporting, and then the B is budgeting. So these administrative functions are fully discussed in unit 4 and 5. So with this, when they were asked a question and then he gave these as the roles they may be performing, but that doesn't mean that this is what they only do. Is that clear? But let me tell you, as a management person, the main functions I've made you aware is the planning, organizing, directing, and controlling. Staffing is under organizing, because in organizing means putting things in place, arrangement of positions, reporting line in order to achieve the goals of the organization, bringing in the resource, who to do what to be done at what time, and so on. And so in organizing, the staff has to do with the human resource. You try to place human resource at their appropriate places. So you could say that staffing is under organizing. Are you getting me? And then directing as a main element. In directing, you try to guide people to achieve the goals of the organization. In guiding, you coordinate among people. So various unit heads, you coordinate with them you motivate people, you supervise people. So here we will also say that coordinating will also be under directing, as well as even reporting and then budgeting. But specifically, budgeting will fall under, let me say, controlling. Controlling simply means measuring performance, comparing performance or actual performance with the target set, and then bringing in corrective measures when there are deviations. And so in controlling, you must budget. In controlling, you have to budget, so that when you budget, the budget will guide you, and then afterwards you check your actual performance to compare with the budgeted. So all these things I have said some are under the main element I've made mention of. But this was the answer that Campbell gave, and which you should take note. Maybe in objective test it can come that what does this acronym POSDCORB means? It means planning. O is organizing, S is staffing, D is directing, CO is coordinating, R is reporting, and B is budgeting. Now, importance of administration. We saw the importance of management, and now we want to look at importance of administration. So, one, administration exists to implement the decisions of an organization. One importance of administration is that if you are a manager and then you set your policies, the policies cannot be implemented on its own. You need people to implement these policies, execute these policies, and that is one need of administrators. They are there to execute or to implement management decision at the lowest level, to influence the results to be attained and the direction to be pursued and the various priorities to be recognized within the organization. So you can just read this to understand. Let me know waste time. Now let's look at similarities and the differences between management and then administration. Okay, so similarities of management and then administration. I want to read what is here. Dear readers, from the definition of management and administration, you will realize that they are both one concerned with organization. So both management and administration are concerned with organization. Why do we say they are concerned with organization? A group of individuals who have been brought together for the attainment of a goal. Please, a minute. Okay, so one, they both deal with organizations because they are all operative in an organized body or group. Two, the effective and efficient mobilization and use of resources. So both administrators and management effectively and efficiently make use of resources. And then three, they all have goal or vision to accomplish. So they both deal with attainment of set goals. Four, this one, myself, we stand on this. Administrators, like managers, also involve functions or elements as planning. I have made mention of that. So the functions are also known as elements, and they deal with planning, organizing, directing, blah blah blah, etc. So these are the similarities that we can easily. Now the differences. Now, one, distinction between the term management and administration is often attempted with reference to two key issues. One, the nature of the enterprise and managerial level. So, based on the nature of enterprise, according to this view, management is used with respect to enterprise or business having an economic orientation or whose primary goal is generation of profits. On the other hand, the term administration is preferred with respect to government enterprise pursuing social and political activity and whose primary objectives is other than profits. So what this means is that in terms of the nature of enterprise, okay, in governance, people at the top level are mostly referred to as administrators. Are you getting me? At the governance
Yes, sir.
level, people at the top, mind you, people at the top are the people who formulate goals, set goals, bring visions, among others. And they are seen at the top people. And so in governance, people at the top are mostly referred to as administrators. But in business where people work to make profits, people at the top are referred to as management. That is one distinction when it comes to the nature of enterprise. Now, distinction on managerial levels. In management, there is something we call levels of management. But before I come there, let me read what is here. Management and administration are used as two separate terms in the context of single enterprise, keeping in view managerial functions and hierarchy. Subscribing to this view, there are two schools of thought. Okay, so levels of management. We talk about top management, we talk about middle level management, and talk about lower level management. The top level management are seen as managers. And I've told you, I gave you two schools of thought, the British schools of thought and then the American schools of thought. So in terms of people at the top level, the Americans see that people at the top level managerial role as administrators, whereas the British see the people at the top as managers. And I've made you understand that because we Ghanaians, we were colonized by the British, we also see people at the top level as managers. Let's go on. Now, reconciling the two schools of thought. In an attempt to solve the terminological problem, management is categorized as administrative management and operative management. Administrative, so you see, because of the American and the British schools of thought, they have now tried to bridge the gap of management and administration, thereby, instead of management and then administrating separately, they have tried to bridge them by indicating that people who are at the top level management should be classified as administrative management, and then people down will be termed as operative management. And now I am aware that the levels of management, we have the top level, middle level, and lower level. Now those at the top level are people who formulate goals, set objectives, set missions, visions for the organization, policies, make policies for the organization. Once these policies are made, those at the middle level will try to implement these policies. So the implementers of these policies are called administrators. We also call them functional management or managers. We also call them tactical managers. So once the middle level are called tactical managers, those at the top level are called strategic managers. Take note of this. These are not part of your book. It is not in your book. I am giving you advanced knowledge. So the people at the top level are called strategic managers. They formulate policies, goals, missions, visions for the organization. And then those at the middle are called tactical. They are also called functional managers. They are the administrators who implement the goals set by the managers. And then we have the lower level managers. So the lower level managers are also called technical managers. They are also called first line managers. They are first line managers because they deal directly with the employees. So I remember when the COVID-19 came, the government tried to give some first line. There was some allowances given to nurses, and then they name it something. Is it first line or first contact? Front liners. I like that. So the lower level are called front liners. They deal directly with the employees. So examples of lower level managers are the supervisors, foremen, lower level managers, supervisors, foremen. And an example of middle level managers are the human resource manager, production manager, financial manager, marketing manager in terms of business. And then the top level managers examples are managing director, general manager, company CEO, executives, even company secretary, because they come together to formulate policies. So in the school setting or education setting, we will say the the school board, in terms of that level, we will say they are the managers. In terms of the structure of education, we will say the Ministry of Education. The Ministry of Education is the management, whereas the regional director of education, district director of education, headmistress will serve as the implementers of the policies made by the top level managers. I believe I am making sense. Okay, so that is that for the difference between the administration and then managers. Now let's try and then look at some questions. So now the questions are here. Let's try and look at some one or two and then. Okay. So which of these best describe administration? Which of these best describe administration? So can you read through and then give me the answer? Let me not just go on to read. Or do you still want me to read? Yes, which of these best describe administration?
The monitoring of subordinates to ensure organizational discipline, productivity, and achievement of stated organizational goal.
Why do you say that?
Because per what we have read, if we are inclining to the British side, then that will be the middle level managers. And if administrators are middle level management, their role is a supervisory role. So they ensure the implementation of the policies, and in doing so, then they will be monitoring lower level managers to implement or conduct activities that will ensure that the stated objectives are attained.
Okay, that's good. Any other view? Any other view? Any other view? Okay, so I believe that just as our sister had said, the D, monitoring and then subordinate, monitoring of subordinate to ensure organizational discipline, productivity, best fits the work of administration in terms of the British definition of administration. Two, all these are part of acronym postcode, except, yes, what's the correct answer?
Recruiting.
Come again. Recruiting. So
Recruiting.
okay, so the first one is what? The P is what?
Planning.
O is what?
Planning.
Organization.
S.
Organizing.
Staffing.
D.
Directing.
C. O.
Coordinating.
R.
Reporting.
Reporting.
Budgeting.
Budgeting.
Okay, so because of time, let's move on and then. Okay, let's see. 4. Let's look at 4. According to the American schools of thought, management is a wider concept than administration. True or false?
False.
False.
According to the American School of Thought, management is a wider concept than administration. True or false? Why false?
False.
Why
False,
false?
because if I
No,
use
different
the
person.
mathematical equation that you use,
Different
then
person.
according to the
Delphina.
Americans, yes, sir.
Delphina, different person. Let different person
Okay.
talk.
Okay. Different person. Okay.
Those who haven't spoken, you should speak. You are part of the free education.
Yes, according to American definition, American School of Thought, administration is wider than management. Management come under the administration.
Okay, and so it is false. And you see how it is arranged.
Yes.
Most at times, in certain questions, people bring true at A and then false at B, but you see that it has been changed. So if you don't take care, and then you may think that false is B, you get it wrong. I hope it is clear.
Yes.
Okay, so in relation to
Yes, sir.
the differences between management and administration in Ghana, we ascribe to the British schools of thought. True or false?
Yes. True.
True. Sir.
Okay. I believe it's fine. Now, let's look at educational management and then administration. Hey, Charlie. You need to want to cry in you assemble crying.
Please, can that person mute the microphone?
Okay. So let's look at educational management. Oh, my time is almost up to. So, my students, I'll
Yes,
plead
sir.
with you that we bring this session to a close. And I don't know. I believe that God willing, tomorrow,
Yes.
Sunday, 7 to 9, we
So-
also arrange to meet.
Yes, sir.
Yes, 7 p.m. tonight.
Exactly. So let's try and then adhere to that. And God willing, tomorrow we will meet. I'm so grateful for your time.
Thank you.
Hello, sir.
Welcome.
Hello, sir.
Yes, Delphina.
Please, I was pleading that in subsequent ones, if we could move the subsequent ones from Sunday, because for Sundays, most of us are Monday to Saturdays are very occupied. So it's a Sunday that for those of us who are teachers, writing lesson notes and other things. So if we could shift it to maybe a weekday, maybe a Thursday or Friday, where the activities are dwindling down, then it can help us, because for us, some of us, our Sunday is the beginning of our week, because we'll use it to prepare for Monday, which is our most busiest days in the week. So for tomorrow, since it's already scheduled, we can't do anything about it. But in subsequent ones, if you can move it a little bit, maybe to a Thursday, Friday, or something like that, it may help a little bit.
Can be possible, please.
For
No.
the head accounting, we will be
Sunday,
having
the
the
right
Listen to me.
we prefer Sunday.
Sunday early in the morning, the head account, we will have a class early in the morning, 7 o'clock.